Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
So greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira. How are you, everybody? It's been a while. You know, Ramadan was here and we were all fasting. Not that I was, tired or anything, but I decided to take this time and dedicate it towards prayers. That's why I wasn't here, but I'm back. And so I enjoyed the festivities after Ramadan. Good food, good family fun, and life is good. So let's just dive into our guest. Our guest today is all the way from California, and her name is Jill Lublin. She is the author of 4 books. And one of the things she talks about is profit and kindness. And we want to talk to her about that. Is why is this so important? Especially, I like to hear because we just finished the holy month, right? So welcome to our show, Jill. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Munira. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you. And for those of you who don't know, I am the Niche Navigator.
Munira Zahabi, the Niche Navigator, is a niche strategist. She is an international author, speaker, and influencer. She is an entrepreneur from Chicago, Illinois. Through her business, she has influenced many people to navigate their niche. She passionately believes that all people have a niche, but are afraid to explore the deep, dark waters within themselves and take a voyage through the raging waters within to find it. Munira's mission is to integrate the concept of nicheology, businessology, and confidenceology. She's also been a co-author of a number of books. She is the Ish, Journeys of Womanhood, Life is a Gift, Calling All Earth Angels and Healers, Heartfelt Business Lessons, Tips for Your Success, Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors. Let's welcome to the platform, Munira Zahabi.
We take pride in teaching everybody how to find their niche, and we communicate, we talk about podcasts, we talk about personal growth, leadership, and I know each one of you is a leader. So, without further ado, but if you want to be on my show, go ahead and send me a Facebook Messenger message, and then we can work that out. Usually have this show in the morning, but because our guest, he is from California and it's at 5:30 her time, so we decided to change a little bit so that nobody is yawning on our show. So without further ado, Jill, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you. I'm a publicity expert. I've actually written 4 books, all behind me. My latest ones are the Guerilla Publicity and the Profit of Kindness. And of course, both are important. In fact, the more kind you are as a company, as an individual, as a business, the more profitable you are. Isn't that amazing? And the more publicity you're going to get. And I saw this consistent with every company I interviewed, both large and small. So I've been practicing in the wonderful world of publicity for, over 25 years. Spoken on 6 continents about usually publicity, and work with all kinds of companies as a public relations strategist.
Awesome. This is awesome. So now you're a coach and you're a writer. So you've worked in marketing for a while, and publicity is marketing. So am I wrong? Am I right?
You're absolutely right. Think of marketing like a tree, and publicity is one of those branches of the tree.
Okay. So how did you jump into publicity? Like, tell me, 25 years ago, take us back in time.
Oh, well, that's when I was just a baby, of course. But I've always been the kind of person, I love people, I love stories, and God has given me a great gift, and that is the ability to translate messages. I'm just that kind of person. I can hear things and recreate them quickly so that others can benefit. And that's really drew me into publicity. I started in the music business, actually working with talent and managing bands and working at record labels as the director of promotion and publicity. And it kept elevating from there. And next thing I know, I owned my own PR agency. And then I wrote Guerilla Publicity. That was my first book. This is now the 3rd edition, and 3 books followed from there. So, one thing about our life is we're always evolving. And that's one of the things I say to people is, guess what? You are evolving too. You make sure you're checking your bio, that things are right, real, and up to date. That's a great example of that.
I'm tickle in my throat, so we don't want to start coughing.
Oh, no problem.
So tell me, so you said you have a PR firm. Do you still have it?
No, I don't have that PR agency anymore, because here's the thing. To hire a PR agency, it's about $4,000 or $5,000 a month, realistically, for anyone good, and more, by the way, a lot more. So I got to the point where my heart lays with entrepreneurs and small business owners, and frankly, that kind of fee is usually beyond them. So I created a virtual publicity course, a publicity crash course it's called, and I just found new ways to serve people that would be very reasonable and get it done PR. And that's what I'm all about now, is guerrilla publicity, get it done without spending a fortune. So I now teach virtual publicity courses, I speak and train, and then I work with companies individually as they need to.
Okay, wonderful. So now you are a coach in the coaching world, and you are helping people excel and get publicity where they are supposed. Usually most people hide behind that facade, right? They think people are going to come find them. Why is that a big mistake for entrepreneurs or people in business? Why is that, oh, I'm going to go find them? Where we know that if we switch on the TV, we'll see a McDonald's commercial every 5-6 minutes and a Toyota commercial. And even though they are big brand names, why is it? Is it because of they have money? But why is it they have to keep hitting us with the same messages? Does that make sense, my question?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, remember, that's advertising you're seeing on television. That's controlled spending, meaning, they spend a certain amount, and yeah, they're going to hit you with messages, because guess what? You're going to remember them. Like Nike, just do it, right? That's like ingrained in our brain. And that's effective, by the way. That's also called a soundbite. Just saying, that's a PR thing. It's called a soundbite. So, with public relations, you're showing up in podcasts and blogs, in all kinds of media, print, radio, television. And it's also you controlling your own, like you're doing right now with Facebook Lives. And we're seen on multiple streams right now. That's doing your own publicity. And that's a beautiful thing. I love the power of publicity now, because we get to multiply, monetize, and magnify, the 3 M's I like to call it, using the power of publicity. And how easy is this, right? It's completely free. And then it puts you into the driver's seat so that you can get the message out there that you want. And the other thing, realistically, is when somebody reads about you, sees you, your trust factor goes way up, and they're like, oh, I've heard of her somewhere. That's what I call it. The I've heard of him, the I've heard of her somewhere syndrome. And that makes a big difference, particularly around trust, particularly around credibility and visibility.
You know what you just said, something is, you talked about, I have to read, multiplicity, magnify, and monetize. Can you elaborate on that? I mean, when is it multiplied? Monetize, I understand. Magnified, I may understand. So if you could talk about multiplicity.
Absolutely. Well, nice thing about public relations is that you're one to many, right? So how many people read an article in a certain newspaper? Well, most newspaper circulations, 40,000 and more, right? So you've immediately reached, let's call it 40,000 on a small day for a small newspaper. I'll tell you, there was a woman who came up to me. I did a virtual booth recently at a Zoom conference, and she came up, she said, Jill, I am here because, well, guess what? I got a 250-word article in the Wisconsin small newspaper that she's part of. And she said, do you know that I got a $5,000 client from one 250-word article? Okay, now that's a small article. She did not pay for it, but she got huge impact because of it. She's a consultant. Now, isn't that a beautiful thing? That's what I'm talking about, multiplicity, that you are able to reach lots of people at once.
And what about Magnify? How do you magnify that?
Well, your message is going to be magnified in the sense that more people can hear about you, right? When you're seen on TV, first of all, there's not only the people who see you, but then you go on to their website and people continue to see you in the archive. And then additionally, you get to use it when you're promoting yourself to clients and to customers and to prospects and to maybe other media, right? And so how wonderful is that? In other words, it keeps going. It keeps going. And it magnifies your message in the sense that people have heard about you somewhere. Oh, you know, I've heard of her somewhere. They often won't remember where, but they will remember that somehow they've seen your message. That's magnification. Without you having to do as much, show up in all these places, your message immediately gets enlarged.
So oftentimes small business owners are always thinking, you know what, I'm not that big enough. I don't need to publicize my business. What do you tell people those things?
I tell people, if you want to stay small, keep thinking like that. Because here's the thing.
I like that.
Well, you know, it's true. Listen, I had a woman I worked with. She was just starting her coaching business. She had quit her corporate job. She needed clients, frankly. And I actually had numbers of clients who were just starting a new thing. Maybe they were fired, maybe they started a new kind of practice. And publicity is going to drive those prospects to you. How wonderful is that, right? And boy, one ABC radio appearance for her generated 7 clients that week.
Wow. So how does one get on TV, on ABC?
Well, part of that is, shall we say, promoting yourself appropriately, right? Because we tied her coaching practice into having a new business, having a new business that's interesting, how do you promote a new business? It wasn't like, oh, she's a coach and we're going to talk about that. Because ABC Radio wanted to talk about how do you build a new business? What do you do? And so as a coach, that's how we got her in. So one of the things you want to look at is what is happening in the newspaper and radio and TV? What's happening in the media that people are talking about? I like to say, then if they're talking about it, let's give them something to talk about and have the opportunity for your message to get out there. So, you know, check your phone and what are people talking about? Check for stories in your arena. And what are people talking about? And that's where I want all of you to be focused, is connected to what's being talked about out there, and then figure out new ways to talk about it. One of my clients, for example, as a coach, she also has an autistic son. Now, what we did was we used National Autism Month for her to talk about her son, having nothing to do with her coaching business, I might add. But, you know, at the end of every podcast, just like I'll do here, I'll give you ways to connect with me. She did the same. Guess what? That drove all the people to her coaching business, right? And expanded her reach, her tribe, her numbers. And that's how you reach more and more people, is to be out so that they can find you, number one, most importantly, and to create that I've heard of her somewhere syndrome.
Okay, wonderful. So you've already talked about the 3 M's. Then you've talked about, you know, I've heard of you syndrome. And then you talked about, of course, I have to read my glasses. And then check what other people are talking about. So I love that. What other messages do you have for the listeners here?
I think it's really important, speaking of messages, that you focus on what's your message. And so, you know, the mistake people make is that you all go out there going, wow, I'm so super cool, which of course you are, right? But the truth is that's not the story. You want to go out with a story about what's in it for the readers, the viewers, and the listeners. What's important and key to the media that's going on today. So a fabulous formula that I want to give you is you want to solve the problem, right? You want to identify what's the problem out there. And then I want you to give 3 solutions. Why 3? Well, it's easy, it's simple, and I want you to keep them in 5-year-old language. Don't overwhelm people with your big fancy words or jargon. Stay away from all of that. You notice in this podcast interview, I'm keeping publicity really simple, right? In 5-year-old language. And I'm condensing a lot of knowledge into short sound bites. So that's something you always want to look at doing. And of course, get help with it if you need it. But the truth is most people tend to talk too much and give too much detail. So I think that's really a key. Yes?
That is a good advice, because I often sometimes try to talk too much, but we now know they keep the sound bites smaller, right?
Yes, keep them very small, three of them, and make them interesting. Like one of my sound bites is create your ooh, ah factor. It's fun, it's easy to remember. Right. And so that's something. And, be listening to what other people say to you, because they will pick up on things that you're not even hearing and then incorporate those into your message.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Now, I want to talk to you for long, but of course we have only 20 minutes and we're coming close to this. We are talking to Jill Lublin, who is all the way here with us from California. And, it's evening here in Chicagoland because she lives in California. So we have to do some time adjustments and we are now here, but we're coming to the close. So Jill, tell us, how can people find you?
Absolutely. Well, I've prepared a wonderful gift for all of you. I have an action guide. This is like get it done, super great tips, more on publicity to get your name out there. And on top of that, it's a 2-for-1 gift, because I invite you to my publicity free masterclass, interactive and live with me, my friends. So make sure to click on that. Come join me in my class. You go to publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift. Let's see you there. Let's help you out. Let's get your message out, because your message matters. It's time.
Publicity.com. Publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift. Now, if you guys are listening, you want to write this down, you want to take this advice, and you know what? Everybody here needs to publicize their message. It's not like it's not like the olden days where you are going to sit in the bar and expect, like in Hollywood, somebody's going to find you. It's not happening. I used to try to do that. I was not in Hollywood, but as a business, I was helping somebody would find me. But no, until I started making the noise, people started coming to me. And this has changed the trajectory of my life. And, I had heard you at a networking event, and I heard that and I thought, I'm not going to sit back anymore. I'm just going to go out there and make it happen. But so I'm not asking you to just go out there and create a lot of noise. I'm asking you to make connections with people who you think you should be connected to, because if your message resonates with one person and they tell somebody else, now you've doubled your audience, right? And,
well said. Thank you.
Thank you. And so if any last words?
Well, my last words is take the baby step, my friends. Do one thing. Like she said, I'm not going to sit back anymore. That helps you get out more. And it could be anything from attending a networking event and getting your intro great, which is part of your message, part of your publicity, doing a Facebook Live like we're doing now, whatever works. Just take one step. It'll make such a difference, and it'll get your momentum going for your PR going, so that you become the star that you deserve to be.
Awesome. Wise words from the wise one. And thank you everybody for joining in. I'm not sure who has joined in, but those of you who have, you can find this podcast later in wherever you get your podcasts. We are everywhere. Then go ahead and just listen to what we are telling you, because, publicity matters and it helps you get out there. And if you are interested in joining our show, please go ahead, like, share, and subscribe to our show and send me a message, and we'll take it from there. But thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful evening till we see you again next week.
Thank you for
Bye.
listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.